When you look at all the news coming out of the industry in just the last, 24 hours, it feels like we're watching a fracture happen in real time.
A fracture is a good word. I was thinking bifurcation.
Yeah.
The contrast is just so stark this morning.
It is. On one side, you have the absolute machinery of Bollywood just humming along at maximum power. Border 2 is making an insane amount of money.
Just printing in.
Printing it. And the franchise model is locking in. We've got Mardaani 3 confirmed, Drishyam 3 on the way. It's the triumph of the system. Big IP, big noise, big box office.
And then, almost in direct defiance of all that noise, you have the individual just stepping out of the machine.
Arijit Singh?
Arijit Singh just says, I am calling it off.
That's the tension, right? That's what we really have to get into today. It feels like the system versus the artist, the noise versus the silence even.
It really does.
And we've got a huge stack of reports here to unpack it all. We've got the box office breakdowns, the social media reactions to Arijit's announcement, and some really interesting notes on the BAFTAs.
And we can't forget the Vidhu Vinod Chopra story.
Oh, absolutely not.
Which, to be honest, might be the single most grounding thing to happen to Bollywood all week.
The slap heard around the world. We will definitely get to that. But I think we have to start with the silence.
Yeah.
Because when the most streamed artist in the country, maybe the definitive voice of the last decade, decides to just stop singing for movies, that's not a career change. That feels more like a structural crisis.
It's an identity crisis for the music of Hindi cinema, for sure. And maybe an economic one, too. Let's look at the actual words he used. It was yesterday, January 27th, in that post on X. He said, I am calling it off.
Calling it off. It sounds so abrupt. So final.
It does. And then he followed it with, it was a wonderful journey. And, the fan reaction was immediate panic.
Oh, meltdown. The timeline was just a mix of, denial and actual grief.
And that's understandable.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to challenge this idea that it was some sudden emotional decision. If you really look at the way the music industry has been tightening up, the costs, the label ecosystem, this feels, I don't know, almost inevitable.
You think it's a business decision then, not an artistic one?
I think it's a survival strategy.
Yeah.
Look, for the last 10, maybe 12 years, Arijit Singh has been the ghost voice of the Bollywood hero.
That's a great way to put it.
Whether it is Ranbir Kapoor or Shah Rukh Khan or Ranveer Singh on screen, the character's internal monologue, all the heartbreak, the romance, that was Arijit's voice.
It's the classic model, isn't it? Raj Kapoor had Mukesh, Rajesh Khanna had Kishore Kumar. The hero needs his voice.
Exactly. But the economics of being that voice have totally changed. Back then, a playback singer was a star, but they were still part of the film's ecosystem.
Right.
Today, with streaming, the singer is often a bigger brand than the movie's entire soundtrack. But who owns the master recording? The label. Who owns the publishing rights? The composer, the lyricist. Arijit Singh, even though he's the most listened to artist in India, is technically a contractor.
A service provider. A very, very famous and expensive one, but still a service provider.
Precisely. And by saying, I'm calling it off, he's signaling a huge shift from service to ownership.
Yeah.
We've seen it in the West with artists like Taylor Swift or The Weeknd.
Taking back control.
Exactly. Arijit going independent isn't just about him wanting to sing different songs. It's about him wanting to own the asset that he himself creates.
Shreya Ghoshal had something to say about this, didn't she? I saw a quote where she called it a new phase.
She did. And, Shreya is always very thoughtful with her words. By calling it a new phase, she's validating it. She's basically saying he's graduated from the system.
And Mahesh Bhatt, of course, got all philosophical about it.
He did. He said something about moving away from noise.
Moving away from noise. I mean, that fits Arijit's whole persona, doesn't it? He's famously private. No red carpets, no big interviews.
True. But noise here could also mean the friction of the industry itself. The constant negotiations, the impossible deadlines, the creative interference from 10 different people.
Which sort of feeds into that rumor that started spreading like wildfire.
Oh, yeah, we have to talk about that.
Yeah.
The Border 2 rumor.
Right. The story was that he had some horrible experience recording a song for the movie and just snapped. Said, that's it, I'm done.
Which is such a dramatic, a very filmy version of events. We love to think history turns on one single moment of rave.
Of course.
But the producer of Border 2 shut that down so fast. They put out a statement almost immediately, just debunking the whole thing.
And it's good they did. But the fact that the rumor even caught on, I think, shows how much we want there to be a villain. We want to believe the big bad Bollywood machine pushed the artist out.
When the reality is probably much more, I don't know, boring, but also more significant. It's not about one bad day at the studio.
Yeah.
It's about the fact that Arijit has nothing left to prove in that system. He's climbed the mountain. His last few tracks with Salman Khan, Le Kapu Ka Naam, Ruan, they were huge hits.
He's not leaving because he's fading.
Not at all. He's leaving because he's completely conquered the territory.
That's where that Virat Kohli comparison that's been flying around really makes sense.
It's the most perfect analogy I've seen. You have someone at the absolute peak of their powers. The stats are flawless. The popularity is untouchable. And to step away then,
Yeah.
that takes a kind of self-awareness that is so rare. Most people just ride that curve all the way down until they're politely asked to leave. Arijit is leaving while everyone is still begging him to stay.
So, this is the big question then. If Arijit walks away, what happens to the Bollywood hero? You called him the ghost voice. If the next big superstar is crying on screen, who sings for him?
That's the crisis. That is the $1 million question. The industry has relied on him so heavily for emotional depth that they haven't really groomed a successor. There's no heir apparent. We might see things fragment a bit, different voices for different genres. But the era of one singular voice of a generation that might have just ended yesterday.
Wow. That's a heavy thought. The end of the monologue. But, okay, while the voice is fading out, the explosions are definitely getting louder.
A perfect pivot.
Let's talk about the noise. Let's talk about Border 2.
The juggernaut.
We're recording this on Wednesday, January 28th. The movie came out for the Republic Day weekend. And the numbers, I'm looking at the trade sheet right now, and the graph is just, it's practically a vertical line.
It's absolutely staggering. We're talking about it crossing the 200 crore mark by day 6.
Day 6. It opened at 30 crore, which is good. That's a healthy number. But then look at the jump. Sunday and Monday were both 50 crore days.
And that right there is the number that really matters. An opening day figure is just marketing, it's hype, it's how good your trailer was.
Right.
But day 3 and day 4, growth like that, that is pure, unadulterated word of mouth. That's audiences telling their friends and family, you have to go see this.
But who is that audience exactly? Is this the usual multiplex crowd in the big cities?
Well, that's what's so fascinating. If you break it down by territory, Border 2 is crushing it in the mass belts. We're seeing single-screen occupancy in Tier 2, Tier 3 cities hitting 85, 90%.
Wow.
This isn't just the India A audience. This is the Farad audience showing up in full force.
It has to be the Republic Day factor. It's almost its own genre at this point.
It is. The patriotic holiday release is probably the safest bet in Bollywood.
Yeah.
But you still have to deliver. We've seen plenty of patriotic films flop because they felt cynical.
True.
Border 2 seems to have hit this perfect sweet spot of nostalgia for the original mixed with a very modern scale and production value. And the casting.
It's smart. You have Sunny Deol, who's in the middle of this huge comeback.
And you pair him with Varun Dhawan and Ahan Shetty. It's a multi-generational move that brings in different fan bases.
I saw some pictures from the success party. All of them. Varun, Sunny, Ahan. They just looked, more than anything, relieved.
Well, he should be. The trade is already predicting a 600 crore lifetime business. If it gets there, that changes the game for everyone involved. But it also cements a trend that I'm a little bit worried about.
Let me guess. Franchise fever.
You got it. Franchise fever. Look, the other news that dropped this week. Mardaani 3 is officially a go.
Okay, now, Mardaani I have a real soft spot for. Rani Mukherjee as Shivani Shivaji Roy. It's just iconic.
It's a fantastic franchise. And it's important. It's a major female-led action IP that works completely on its own terms. Rani was talking recently about gender roles in films, and Mardaani is one of those franchises that actually walks the walk.
It's not female cop, it's just cop.
Exactly. A competent, brilliant cop who happens to be a woman. The distinction is crucial. But then we get to Drishyam 3.
This is where I got a little confused looking at the notes. Shreya Saran let slip that the Hindi version is going to be different from the Malayalam original.
This might be the single riskiest move I've heard of in a long time.
Why risky? Isn't it good to innovate, to not just do a carbon copy?
Normally, yes. But not when the absolute core value of your entire franchise is a specific genius-level plot. The whole point of Drishyam is Jithu Joseph's incredible writing. The twists are the product. Drishyam 2 worked in Hindi, even though the original was already out on streaming because the plot was just that good, it was bulletproof. If the Hindi writers now decide to go off script.
They're playing with fire.
They are playing with serious fire. But look, I get why they feel they have to do it. It's what I call the Wikipedia problem.
The Wikipedia problem.
Yeah, everyone already knows the twist. The original films are so accessible. If half of your potential audience has already streamed the Malayalam version, how do you convince them to buy a movie ticket? You have to promise them something new. A new ending, maybe.
So it's not really a remake anymore. It's like a reboot disguised as a sequel.
Essentially, yeah.
Yeah.
Is the industry finally admitting that the old remake economy is broken because of streaming? They have to offer something exclusive to the theatrical experience.
It all comes back to safety, doesn't it?
Right.
Border 2 is the safety of IP. Mardaani 3 is the safety of a beloved character. And Rishyam 3 is trying to find safety in the brand name while changing the product.
The fear is about the marketing cost of an original story. It costs so much more to launch a brand new idea than it does to just say, Border 2 is coming. In this post-pandemic world, getting people off their couch is a battle, and familiarity is your best weapon.
Well, speaking of unfamiliar, let's pivot away from the noise. Let's look at the art house side of things. Because for all the explosions Border 2 is making, there's some really quiet, really bold stuff happening on the fringes.
The contrast is just beautiful, isn't it? While the box office is going nuts, we have boom.
Boog! It's just a fun word to say.
It is. It's this film backed by Farhan Akhtar's company, and it just landed a BAFTA nomination for 2026. Best Children and Family Film.
And this is the key part. It's the only Indian entry this year.
That's the headline, the only one. I mean, think about the hundreds of films we produce. Think about the 500 crore budgets. And none of them made the cut at BAFTA. But this smaller, regional story, backed by a producer with good taste, did.
It really speaks to the power of curation, you know? Farhan Akhtar just putting his name on it, Excel Entertainment backing it, that gives a film like this a platform and a visibility it would never have otherwise.
It's that Godfather model of producing. You use your commercial success to protect the art. But the experiment that really has me, like, scratching my head in the best possible way is Gandhi Talks.
I was waiting for you to bring this up. A silent film in 2026.
It sounds like a joke on paper, doesn't it? We've got Dolby Atmos, IMAX, 4DX seats that literally punch you in the back during action scenes. And here comes a film releasing on January 30th with zero dialogue.
Starring Vijay Sethupathi and Aditi Rao Hydari.
Which is the first sign of genius right there. If you're going to take away spoken words, you need actors who can communicate everything with their eyes, with their bodies.
And Vijay Sethupathi is a master at that.
The man can hold a 10-minute scene with just a stare. He's so physically expressive in a way that's really rare.
And the second stroke of genius.
A.R. Rahman.
The Mozart of Madras.
Exactly. See, in a silent film, the music isn't just background score. The music is the dialogue. It's the entire script. By bringing Rahman on board, they've turned what could be a gimmick into a must-see cinematic event. You're not just going to watch a silent film, you're going to go listen to a Rahman narrative.
It's really smart counter-programming. You've got the deafening sound of Border 2 in Screen 1.
And right next door, in Screen 2, you have the visual musical poetry of Gandhi Talks. It's like a palate cleanser for the soul.
It shows that the industry isn't just one thing. Yes, the big money is in the sequels and the noise, but the prestige, the experimentation, that spirit is still alive.
And speaking of spirits that are still alive,
yeah,
Gautam Menon just hit 25 years in the industry.
25 years. And he had this quote about his long-delayed film, Dhruva Natchatharam, that just, it made me laugh and wince at the same time.
What was it?
He called the experience a lesson in management.
Laughs? That is the most diplomatic, polite way to describe what we all know was production hell that I have ever heard. But it's so true to the business, isn't it? It's not just art, it's chaos management.
Which is the perfect segue to the chaos of the human ego. We promised the listener a story about a Rolls Royce and a slap.
This is, hands down, my favorite piece of news from the whole stack. It's about Vidhu Vinod Chopra.
The legend himself, the man behind 12th Fail, 3 Idiots, Munafai.
A man who is, let's say, not known for his lack of confidence.
Laughs. That is a very kind way of putting it.
So the story goes, VVC decided to gift a Rolls-Royce to Amitabh Bachchan.
Not just any car, a Rolls-Royce Phantom. The price tag being thrown around is 4.5 crore. That's a serious gift.
It's a grand gesture. It's an I have arrived kind of gesture.
Yeah.
So VVC goes home, probably feeling on top of the world. He tells his mother what he's done, and she slaps him.
I love that. I can just picture that entire scene so clearly.
It's the ultimate reality check, isn't it? You can be the biggest producer in Mumbai, you can be gifting luxury cars to living legends, but to your Indian mother, you are just being a fool with your money.
But there was a deeper layer to it, wasn't there? The insight VVC shared about why he even did it. He said he felt Amitabh only tolerated him.
That's the part that really gets you. Tolerated. Here's this giant of the industry at the peak of his powers, feeling like an imposter next to Amitabh Bachchan.
It just strips all the glamour away.
Completely. We see these people on magazine covers and think they're a different species. But at the end of the day, Vidyu Vinod Chopra is dealing with that same little voice in his head. Am I good enough? Do these people actually like me? That we all deal with.
It really humanizes them. It reminds me a bit of that comment Hema Malini made today about Dharmendra.
About the Padma Vibhushan, yeah.
It was awarded it posthumously, and she just expressed this deep, simple regret that he didn't get it while he was alive, to see it and enjoy it.
It's a theme.
Wow.
It runs through everything we've talked about today. It's about validation. Arijit is seeking validation as an independent artist, not just a playback singer. The industry is seeking validation through massive box office numbers. VVC was seeking validation from Bachchan. Hema Malini was seeking validation for Dharmendra's legacy.
We're all just trying to find our place in the history books, I guess.
Or, just trying not to get slapped by our mothers.
That too. Honestly, that VVC story is the anchor for this whole conversation. It reminds you that behind the 600 crore projections and Arijit's silent exit, there are just people trying to figure it all out.
That's a pretty healthy place to leave it, I think.
Yeah.
The industry's in flux, the old models are breaking, the voice is leaving, the silent film is making a comeback. But that human element, the insecurity, the ambition, the family drama, that's the one constant.
So for everyone listening, what's the big takeaway from all this?
I'd say, don't just read the headlines. Understand the shift that's happening. If you go see Border 2 this weekend, and let's be honest, the numbers suggest most of you will pay attention to the energy in that theater. And then maybe, if you can, buy a ticket for Gandhi Talks. Vote with your wallet for variety.
And if you find yourself listening to Arijit's greatest hits today, maybe don't feel too sad that it's over. Just feel lucky that we got a whole decade of that voice before he decided it was time to own it for himself.
Well said.
From headlines to heartbeats, you've been listening to Bollywood Daily Dive-In. Catch you where the stories are.